Okay, folks, good morning. Let's see. You're being a little bit of incorrigible there. You brush drying spring. This thing actually works really well, except some of these brushes are a little fat. Now, they're kids commandeered these from. I commandeered these from kids. Come here, kid, give me your brush. Let's leave the horch alone. Let's leave the horch alone. Let's I can't imagine having all this stuff on my cutting area. That's why I use this piece of cardboard. Actually, probably one thing I should do is, because this one's actually a lot thicker than some of the other ones. I'm not really sure where this came from, but when this thing gets too nasty, I probably ought to just spray paint the whole damn thing and keep using it. It has a nice thickness to it. No way we won't ruin anything else. Okay, well, let's get our remnants of Nuln Oil here. The third and final armored car. Third and final Humber armored car. I wonder what temperature this will start freezing at. It'd be like if you try doing this around 40 degrees or something like that. Well, that'd be pretty cold. Not that I can't handle 40-degree weather. I wouldn't want to paint in 40-degree weather when I'm not moving around. Like 40-degree weather is great, but I'm huddled like this, like not getting any movement. We gotta wear a bit more clothes than this, let's put it that way. A little bit of a tuft there, a little bit of a tuft. The two flimsies we have here. The flimsy flimsies. Good morning, Marcus. Ready to go? Well, I've been packed since yesterday. Ish. I still don't have the toiletries put away because, I'm using them. I don't have the electronics. As my wife would say, the tech. Okay. Just cords and stuff. And today's going to be hell day at work. And tomorrow's going to be hell day for people that work that aren't me. But other than that, I guess I'm as ready as I could get. We're doing only carry-ons. Because, imagine your clothes not showing up. That would be a problem. That'd be a problem. Yeah, it's the only thing that's kind of a bummer is I just kind of realize that I may never go to any of these places again. Because the reality is, it's really hard. It's really, regardless of the expense, it's very hard to take this amount of time off. And, there's other places to go too, Not that I'm going anywhere that I expect to have a bad time at. The armored cars are looking pretty good. Saw that picture I posted. Yeah, they still need to be sealed, which makes them look a little bit better. I got a whole host of things that need to be sealed. I'm a very little motivation to go fire up the airbrush just to go put the clear coat on it, you know. I haven't done that, so maybe I need to make a point of it when I get back to seal these armored cars. Well, I don't think this one will be done. I don't know what time I got to get up tomorrow morning, but it's going to be really early. It's probably going to be before 4, which is pretty, getting up at 4 isn't a big deal. Getting up at like, earlier than 4, you got to be like, all right, I got to go to sleep at a time that will allow me to wake up at that time. And then be able to fall asleep. Only thing I'm concerned about the trip, the only thing I'm concerned about the trip is turbulence. I can deal with anything else. Just get me over there and we'll be fine. So, God, I hate turbulence. Can handle anything else. But no, I haven't unclenched yet because it's one of those things. Is there's just so many preparations, and my wife's doing all of them basically. She handles all that. Call this and hold the mail and do that. All little details. I'll be doing all little details at work, and they're not going to follow them, and it's all going to go sideways. But and it happens every time. And it's been happening for years. And I told them, you guys got to give me somebody to, can take this over. Yeah, we're working on it. Well, you're going to be working on it now, that's for sure. Really not going to be looking forward to that first day back. And the jet lag. That's significant. The jet lag there, I think the jet lag back will be fine because the jet lag back, I'll be like ready to go to bed earlier than I'm supposed to. So that's probably good. It's the other thing. It's like I got to get some sleep. I don't think I've ever slept on a plane other than by accident, and I've like woken up like in the middle of it's not rested. So we'll have to get a Tylenol PM or something. I don't know. Other than that, everything else, I expect everything else will be just fine. We're kind of in a panic because we found out that this particular airline that we're flying from New York to Heathrow supposedly weighs your carry-ons. Oh, the one time that we're only taking carry-ons? Oh, okay. And it's something like you can have two carry-ons, like yeah, what they call a personal item, and I think that's what they call it. Personal item and one carry-on, and the heaviest one can be only 26 pounds, and combined is like 36 pounds. And we went and weighed my daughter, and she's like way over. And I'm like, oh man, I wonder how much I'm good. Like I'm within that limit. I'm like surprised. Like wow. I'm like that's pretty good. But I specifically am taking clothes that get small. That fold I don't like when they give you like a weight restriction on luggage. I'm wondering like, why are you worried about this? Is there not enough thrust on the plane? I used to do long travel a lot, but haven't since the pandemic time. We are hoping to do some later this year. Yeah. Just to get me through airport security. And it's not that I'm worried about being stopped because shit, my record's better than anybody there. I don't like holding up the line, but we got that TSA pre check in, and that should make things a breeze. We were flying out of this small airport the last time we were going to, was it when we went to Canada? I went to New York. It was the last time that we went, so it would have been Canada. And my daughter, and this is like 5 o'clock in the morning at this little airport. Good morning, Francois. This little regional airport. I guess it could be smaller. At least major airlines come here, but it's one of those catch 22s. We don't have a bigger airport because there's not industry. There's not industry because it's not a bigger airport. It's like, okay, somebody's got to give a little bit. But my daughter got singled out for a drug pat down or something like that. And we hadn't gotten our TSA pre-check in, so it must have been Canada. Yeah, because actually that came through while we were out there. Like, great, we don't need it anymore, or we got it on our way out, or something like that. Yeah, that's what it was. It was Canada. We didn't have it for Canada. Then we went to Mexico last year because Canada was a year before because we're already in 2025. She had we had it for Mexico, and that was a breeze. That was a freaking breeze when he came back into the States. It was like literally swipe a card, boop, you're in. Like, yeah, like I don't need to be stopped. Got nothing to hide here. But I don't like airport security because I don't like being stopped. I don't like being stopped because I don't like being questioned. I don't like being questioned because I don't want to be holding up to. First of all, your time is wasted questioning me and searching my shit. Like I don't have anything. You know. I didn't even bring my 1/72nd scale weapons with me. Okay, they're not with me. And I don't want to hold up the line. I don't want to be that guy. You've been in line before. Like, really, why does that asshole not have his shoes off? Like, it's coming up. I'm not that person. I got everything. I'm ready to go. And it's that whole sense of the variables that drive me crazy. So, Pettigreen, how's life going? I don't know. I'm going to be over there on your side of the pond in a couple days to straighten you guys out. Before my wife was a U.S. citizen, we used to have a lot of issues being held up. Almost missed a flight one time. Yeah. No, the problem with it is that, there's a time to hustle to do things, right? And some people that work at certain jobs are never in a hurry. And it's really it's really frustrating. I mean, there's a time to hustle. Like you're going through airport security, you got to take off whatever it is, shoes, belt, whatever. Have that shit off, man. Don't be like. The main thing is, I don't want the guy telling me to hurry up. Like, fuck you, Mister. You wear blue polyester. The best thing to get through TSA is freaking bringing miniatures with you. That is the best thing to get through. Oh, it's like entertainment time for these morons. If you guys work for TSA, you know what I'm talking about. You don't have to be the moron, but you work with morons, and you know it. It entertains the living shit out of those people. Um, we already got Elon Musk thinking he can sort us out. Well, I don't keep up with politics or current events, so I guess so. I don't hang out with people that want to get in other people's shit. Like, I'm like, leave people alone or argue with things. I was having my breakfast this morning, and I got some story that was recommended to me, and I don't know why I kept reading because it was about comic book stuff. Like, I don't know anybody who cares less about comic book things, but these two freaking nerds were arguing about what the best depiction of this, and they were just going back and forth like nobody was going to see eye to eye. I'm like, why even have this conversation that's antagonistic, and you're not going to convert anybody? You know, assuming that's what your purpose is. I mean, isn't that what the point of arguing is to convert somebody, or at least, you know, I don't fight wars I can't win. Elon Musk. I don't know much about him, but I can tell you that all the people that buy his cars don't like him. I wouldn't buy an electric car. Screw that. Does it have a clutch and a stick shift? No. What do I want with that thing? Did you look up the National Army Museum I told you about? Which one did you tell me about? I went to the Imperial one, and there's one museum in Spain that looks like that's going to be my favorite one. I actually don't know if I'm even going to make it to the Imperial War Museum in London because it's going to soak up 3 hours, but between getting there and getting back, it's probably going to soak up 4 hours of our 2 days there. And if I'm not super excited about it, then nobody else is going to be super excited about it. So, you know, I'd rather us go to the British Museum. There's more stuff that appeals to everybody there. Um, you know, I'm not going to spend 4 hours of my day to see like two tanks and two artillery pieces. Like, you know, it's a bit lame in that department. I didn't want to see a full walkthrough, but I went through it anyways. And it says it's closed. Where is this place? Let's see. Okay, due south of Hyde Park. Got any tanks there? Oh, those displays look cool. You know, a lot of stuff is ruined by the internet. Like, you can check things out on the internet, so you don't have to. Oh, this is cool. Okay, there's a surface to air missile thing. A Lynx. Yes, I'm not totally ignorant of modern things, even though I don't war game it. And yet there's a big whale there. Like, something's got. Oh, there's a lot of machine guns. Oh, what are those things called? A dingo. It looks like a dingo. Oh, Part of a Churchill. It's got the wrong serial number on that Bren carrier. What? Challenger outside. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna have time. I really don't think we're gonna have time. Um, Unless we have a terrible time. I can't imagine not going back to England at some point. But no, you must have told that to me at a time when I wasn't paying attention or something. You know, I'd love to go to Bovington, but it's just in the wrong place. We don't have a car. And even if we had a car, that's just it's too far. It's just takes up. We'd need a fourth day. So one of the things we really enjoyed in DC, one of the times we went, was the get on, get off on the bus, and we're definitely doing that because you know if you go on your own, you're gonna see this little bit and you're gonna see this little bit, and you're not gonna see stuff in between. And I think that's what we're going to use for transport. The weather's going to be like perfect for those of us that like being cold. It's not going to be that cold. It's not any temperatures that you don't get in Florida. You know that's what's cold. If you go somewhere that's temperatures that we've never been in, so you got to talk like negative temperatures or like temperatures that are cold but really really dry. You know, but England's wet like here, and it's like low 50s to 30s every. What's That's how it's been here every day. So you know, we'll be all right. So I travel really well when I don't make any super strong plans. When it's like we're gonna go here and this is where we're gonna sleep. What are we doing the rest of the time? Don't worry about it. You know, just wing it because you don't have any expectations. I used to travel with my parents. It's like, all right, we're gonna go here. Of course, they wouldn't tell me this because I was a kid, but they'd have all these strict restrictions that they had to do this on this day. And actually, our trip in Spain is going to be very bam, 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 bam. You know, we got 3 days. This is the kind of stuff that we need to do in this city, and then we're going to get a car, and then we're going to go to this place, and that same day we're going to finish here. And we're going, you know, it's like we've laid it all out. But that's because we need to, you know, be efficient. You know, so it's either that or you don't see anything, everything. So you walk almost everywhere in DC, and Ubers are about $5 a trip to anywhere. Yeah, well, we did the walking too, but at some point, you know, this guy would tell you about the history as you're going. Actually, what he called himself, Mr. History. Um, not the whole time, but at one point, we really enjoyed that part of it. We walked everywhere at DC, but you know, if you go one time and there's no crowds, and then you go another time and there's crowds, you really don't want to go to any of those things. You know, like um, that Natural History Museum in New York. I don't know if there's a day that it's ever not busy as hell. But the last time we went, which was the first time my daughter went, there was so many people um, that were just like, man, we can't even move. Like, let's go see the dinosaurs. So my wife literally went and sat in the corner. And um, yeah, it's one of those days where so many people, you go in a corner, you get away from people, and you're still in somebody's way. You know, it's like when you go in one of those bars and you're sitting there in a corner like this, you got your drink in the corner like this, you know, you got it up against you, and people are still bumping into you. Like, there's just too many people. Like, I'm not interested in that. So we tend to be like, oh, that's just too many folks. We're not going to go. So daughter and I looked at the dinosaurs, and actually, I've never had a good experience at that museum. Now that I think about it, It's always too damn crowded, or the heater's blaring. But anyhow, I mean, their displays are freaking awesome, but the internet kind of takes the wind out of the sails for museums because you're not going to see a good everything. It's almost kind of like gives you these ideas for you to look up more information on later, almost like a little stepping stone. Like, oh, I think I'll read more about that now that I've seen a whatever in person. So here's the thing about walking from my American perspective. I don't mind walking if there's people like me walking. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want to go down in this town, where I grew up in the busy commercial thing, and walk around. I'll be like the only person walking around and everybody's in a car, right? But if you're in a place where everybody else is walking, I don't mind walking. So, I don't have a problem with walking. I fully expect to lose at least 5 pounds on my trip, which means I probably need to take it about 10 times back to back. Doesn't quite work that way, but and we'll probably do a lot of walking, but we're also going to places that people walk, and the weather will be good walking weather. Not I don't want to be walking outside in 90-degree weather. I don't mind taking public transport if there's people that aren't deviants. Like here, you take public transport and you don't want to take public transport in where I live in the United States because it'd be like even the people that are there would be looking at what the hell are you doing on my bus? Like I know what am I doing on your bus? So I'm not necessarily opposed to it. Um, and I had to take the bus when I was a kid, and none of my friends did. And trust me, I don't want to do that again. As much as I would like to go to the Tank Museum in Bovington, I would probably be annoyed if I was there with other people that were like clueless. Like just imagine sitting there, I'm looking at all the tanks and I'm trying to figure out, I want to like take up close up shots at like like the finish on the metal or the joint, stuff you can't see on the internet, things that are just cool because I'm seeing this kind of stuff and be some other family. Daddy, what tank is that? Oh, that's a green one. And what's that one? Oh, that's a brown one. Like some. I'd be like, get me out of here. Bus and tube in London, excellent, but taxis are exorbitant. So we got to go on the tube. We've got to go on the tube just for the experience. And I think, I think the only time we will probably go on the tube is from the airport, just to do it because I want to go on it. I mean, I think subways are cool, unless you're somewhere where there's earthquakes, in which case you can just count me out. I'm not doing subways in earthquake zones. Sorry, I failed that morale check. But we're in places where Yeah, we're just gonna wing it. I'm sure we'll have a great time. The whole trip's been kind of laid out. Because either if you don't do that, you don't. I mean, we did the same thing on our cruise. Like, all right, we're going to do this on this day. We're going to do this night, this over here, and then how do you connect the dots? Well, the connecting the dots stuff isn't important, but you got to make sure that you go to, you know, the things that you want to go to, and it's got to be stuff that appeals to everybody because it can't just be like, I'll see you at Hannon's. You know, that place is way out of the way, and we don't we got we don't have a way to bring that stuff back. I'm just one of the things that I'm always really curious about when I go to other countries, which hasn't been that many times. Some of us work for a living. Is what is less expensive there than the country than in the United States? And it's always really interesting to see like, oh man, this is really cheap here, but this other stuff's really expensive that isn't. So like I remember when we'd go on cruises a lot and we'd stop at the Virgin Islands. The most expensive thing there is milk. Like milk is like a luxury item in the Virgin Islands. Virginity is probably a luxury item in Virgin Islands as well. Did something just happen with the shipping rates in 2025 between the UK and the United States? It seemed like, I mean, it skyrocketed already, and now it's like, about the Brexit time, it skyrocketed, which makes no sense to me. It seems like it would have been, but I mean, I've had this conversation many times, but as an outsider, I would have been like, oh, okay, well, the United Kingdom is it's expensive to ship things to Europe. The United Kingdom is part of Europe. It's not that expensive, so when they become on their own, it should be cheaper. Nope. But there's other things at play. But I think in 2025, it took another turn for the worse. It should be really easy. It should be really cheap to ship things from people that use the same language. Just pick just put one of those big tubes. Just put a big tube under the bottom of the Atlantic. And just do it like at the bank, like the bank teller. So that's the thing about public transport here in the United States is, you don't garbage truck. I don't like that. Anyhow, it's like it's not garbage day today. Um, Not even close. You don't want to take public transport in a place where people with issues are on. I don't have anything against it, but you know, if you go somewhere like, man, I don't think I should be here. You probably shouldn't be there. Whether it's some place that's a little too hoity-toity. One of those places run by Normans. You know, I'm not bougie or I don't have to have a limo service, but I'd rather my family not have to interact with crack whores. I've started copying my DBA Goths. Thank you. Using Forge and Battle minis, but closely following my color scheme. Well, I spent a lot of time looking at it. You know, I spent a lot of time looking at it, and it just depends on, what depiction you want them to be. And I've always gone with the attitude like, okay, I gotta paint, like I'm gonna paint, say, Ostrogoths, and I'm gonna paint Visigoths, and I'm gonna paint them both, and they need to look different from each other on their tabletop. Well, they kind of wore the same thing. Okay, well that may be, but on this tabletop, we need to differentiate between them. So, are these guys maybe use more reds and greens, and these guys maybe more yellows and blues, you know, or maybe the common folks are wearing more colors like this, and then the other ones are wearing more this, or mix it up, or you know, that's kind of the mentality I go with it. Is I can't, all right, we're gonna have a medieval French, and we're gonna have medieval German. Oh, we'll use all generic medieval figures. Well, that may work for you in your world, but that's not going to motivate me to spend thousands of hours painting this army. So that's actually one of the things that I think that I'm really, really comfortable with is having to make things different when they're not. And I think that makes World War II like a piece of cake. So and that's one thing I really, really enjoy doing. But yeah, go to Gripping Beast. How'd those guys paint them? Well, I like that. Let's save this picture. Or sometimes you don't like something, so don't do that. Um, it gets a little mixed figure manufacturers. I don't mind, all of them in the same pose, but if they're guys that are all different, something like the Goths could literally have every figure in a different pose by a different manufacturer and it would look okay. To me, anyways. What's the banner of the Ostrogoths going to look like as opposed to the Visigoth one? You got to have a banner. I mean, I'm a banner fan. I'm a flag fan. So I didn't arbitrarily anything I painted for DBA. I didn't just arbitrarily start slinging paint. I mean, a lot of thought went into, all right, what are these guys going to look like? All right, well, when they're facing these, you going to be able to tell them apart from each other? And that goes for everything. Like, if you're painting a Marian Roman army, you have to do another Marian Roman army. Like, they got to look different. You got to be able to tell them apart. They don't have to look like red and blue, but you got to be able to tell them apart from each other. I mean, I need that out of that. That's important to me. And I don't miss painting ancients and medievals. I just don't. I don't want to. I don't want to play a game again where, yep, this keeps coming up in the games every time, and there's nothing we can do about it. I just I don't have the soul left for that anymore. You just got a bunch of figures to cover off all Gothic armies. Maybe have different command stands. Well, most people do it that way. Yeah, I would never use. I mean, I'd use them in a pinch. Like, okay, we need to do this battle, and we need to do this battle, and you need to have a medieval army, and all I have is this and this. All right, well, we can fudge them for this battle, but then I'm not going to go out and paint them that way. But I'm probably the exception. A lot of people are like, oh, I can just paint a bunch of different armies, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, I don't feel like I'm playing a bunch of different ones if I can use the same figures, which is different reasons motivate people differently. One for me is, if I'm going to do medieval stuff, I want to read about the heraldry and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that interests me. It may not be somebody else's cup of tea. I just don't want to. Well, what does within mean? Just stop. We all play this way, and this guy opened his mouth who's never played a game, and he's telling all these lemmings to go off a cliff. And I'd like to say that most of these issues are not ones I've encountered with a group of people that I would play with. It'd be like you'd post games, and then other people that aren't even in my game would argue about shit. Oh, you did this wrong. Well, you do it however you want. Well, when the rules get translated to English, when the rules get organized into English, it's the organization, not the translation. No, we're not going there again. We're done. And then other stuff that would bother me, because I didn't have a problem with most of the game. It's just a game. But stuff like Mongols and stuff that just can't be played properly. You just don't feel like you're doing Mongol-y things when you're playing them. But there'll never be another game they'll have played so much. That'll never happen again. There's no other game that I'm going to start playing now that'll have gotten 2,500 games in. It just isn't going to happen. I mean, the only way I'll ever play something like that ever again is if they come up with a game that's not called DBA. As I said, I wasn't going to play DBA again, and I'm a man of my word. Nothing against Phil Barker. I think the world of him. It's just I've done enough. I can't make people listen anymore. So um, that's laid out more easily for people to understand. And I'm going to be willing to get off my World War II tear, which I don't know that I'm willing to do. I don't know that I'm willing to do. I'm really enjoying World War II a lot. I'm enjoying this a lot, and I'm not even playing it. So, you know, Apple Ice equals Napoleonics. Oh, hold on a second. We have budget figures. Yeah, I was fanatical about when painting heraldry or an apple or Napoleonics, okay? But Goths are more of a journeyman playing army. Um, well, yeah, the motivate. I mean, I gotta have the painting part. If I'm not creating stuff for something, I'm just. This isn't serving its purpose. This is my therapy. I'm in session right now. Um, Especially for today. I am not looking forward to today. I'm really not looking forward to the 2nd of February. I'm really not looking forward to that day. And of course, we'll have a report when I get back. What I liked the most about each place I visited and what I disliked the most. And I have no idea what those things were going to be. Although that's not really fair. I mean, it's kind of like going to United States for the first time and just going to Chicago or something like that, or New York or Los Angeles or what's 2nd of February, the day I come back. The day I come back from the European tour, not really a European tour, but we're going all over Spain. But even there's still big swaths that we're not going to because there's only so much time. My daughter's studying abroad for 4 months in the southern part of Spain, so we're like, well, it's time to take her over there. And I've never been. I've been trying to go to Europe since 1996. You guys are just too far away. You have to take too many days off in a row. Like I'll be ready to come back to work. What I won't be ready to back is cleaning out up other people's messes while new things are happening. That's a freaking stress out for me. You guys got free medicine over there. Just give me something over the counter to chill me the hell out. It's gonna be horrible. I mean, I've been gone for just a week and I get 800 emails. It could be worse. I could make it so I could check emails while I'm gone. No, I don't. I completely disconnect. I can't check anything from work while I'm not there. I mean, I can't solve the problem, so why even bother getting stressed out about it? There's nothing I could do about it. It's like over the Christmas holiday, I was ready to go back to work. I have too many days of not doing anything, just sitting around at home with, but the place was shut down. So, nothing went sideways. Most of us, and I suspect this most people don't have somebody just like, well, I'll just do your job while you're gone. They can't. I mean, everybody's like, lean. Nobody has time for, if people had time to do somebody else's job, they'd have time to do their own job properly, and they don't. So, yeah, it's going to be a shit show of unusual size. But, I've been warning them for over a year this was coming. And I've been warning them for over 20 years. Hey, you need to find me a backup. It's Valencia. No, it's I can see that because the other city that I get mixed up with, Valencia, I believe, is the one that was destroyed by all the flooding. But that's not why we're not going there. It's Sevilla. Sevilla's where we're going to work our way to. We're gonna end there. The trip's gonna the last 4 or 5 days we'll be there, getting my daughter set up for college, and at least that's what the plan is. So, yeah, you kind of have to make a plan, and sometimes you have to adjust the plan. Okay, did we miss any here? No, this is good. Let's add a little bit more to the flimsy. Let's make them a little bit flimsier. I hope I run into somebody eating beans and toast in London so I could use my charm on them. All right, man. See you in a few weeks. Yeah, more than a few. Yeah, it's. I guess it's a few weeks. It's more than two. That would be fun. Go through the Tower of London and do like that thing I did with Mitch. Like, look at all the stuff. Hey, what's this? What's this guy? Ooh, that guy's not gonna. Color commentary with the U. Color. Never been there, but Madrid is beautiful. We're gonna be there a few days. Um, we're gonna go see the art museum. It's actually an art museum, not like there's some stuff there that I really care for, not stuff that pretends to be art. Don't cast pearls before swine. Oh man, what the? You made me look up stuff. I only know redneck sayings. I don't think that sounds like a redneck saying. Maybe it is. Let's see. Don't cast. I am concerned. I'm fluent in Spanish, but I'm uneducated in Spanish, meaning I've never been to school in it. So it's only conversational with my parents, and I think I'm gonna have a hell of a time understanding those people. Don't cast pearls before swine. It's a waste of time to give something valuable to someone who won't appreciate it. That's true. It is. It is. Um, I'm really looking forward Well, we were planning some of these places we were going to. Ah, fuck. What's the hurry? The place is gonna burn to the fucking ground, anyways. I got another 10 minutes in me. There's this one museum in Toledo that looks like it's got a shitload of armor and stuff like that. You know, my people's armor. You know, Tower of London is all good in that, but that's not my people. You know, so I was like, hey, I wonder if I'll be motivated to paint my medieval Spanish, whatever, when I get back. Probably not. I have a medieval Spanish army to paint. Let's use this as the. What happens if I use this as to thin this out? What could possibly go wrong? So I'm looking forward to seeing that because you know, you go look at armor and stuff like that, and everything is so Anglo-centric. And I don't have anything against the Anglos. I'm just like, there's other angles to look at. So, like, even if you go into a bookstore, if you go into like a Barnes and Nobles here in the U.S. and they find anything on like kings and queens, it's always like English kings and queens. Like, there's other royalty or there's other, you know, history. It's all important. Tubes and buses are tap on, tap off, and as cheap as chips. With £60 for a taxi, pre-booked from King's Cross. How do I know where King's Cross is? To Fulham. I don't know where Fulham is. Only £2.50 on the tube back the way. Huh. Toledo. Unfortunately, we're only there for a day. We're taking the train there. At least that's what the plan is. I'd like to say that's at least what the plan is. I need to do a live session after I'm done in London and see if you guys can pick up some kind of a twang I picked up. Because I'm a morpher. I'll go in. I'll start sounding like, you know. I'll pick things up. Yeah, only gonna do 1 day trip to Toledo. Just kind of hard to fit things in. You know, we're probably not gonna go back to a lot of these places. I mean, it's taken this long just to go to Europe. You know, I was just like adamant, like I'm not going any. I'm tired of going to countries. I'm tired of going to third world countries and not going to Europe. So you guys might say, well, Europe is a third world country. Well, you know what I mean. So I don't come from those third world countries, you know. So I've been told. I'm gonna go to more. I'm gonna go to some of these places. I'm gonna know more about the history of the people that actually live there. Well, same thing. Some of these people live in those cities that don't know anything about their history. Probably know more about American music now than I do. That's fine. Have at it. Remember that Toledo has a Spanish artillery museum? Yeah, there's a museum there in the Alcázar that I already know what I'm not going to like about Spain. Is for me, the Latin culture or Latin things are very warm, meaning And I don't think that's going to happen in Spain. Everybody's going to be standoffish or grumpy or, you know, I hope I'm, disappointed, but I expect that to be the case, you know. And probably different factors, One of the factors is, they had a horrible civil war not that long ago, and that's, some of that stuff's hard to, put behind you. A lot of hardships that have happened there that, we take for granted. So I fully expect that to be the case. Um, but hey, that's we weren't over there. We'd already decided to leave that popsicle stand. Didn't anyone tell you Europe became the third world when they invited the third world to invade them? Yeah. Um, my daughter's roommate is actually doing the same thing. My daughter's roommate from this last semester, who my daughter gets along really well with, and has come up here and visit us and everything. She's doing the same thing, but she went to Exeter, and she had a run in with some folks, and not a run in, but she had an encounter with some folks in the UK that weren't too happy about being invaded. But the problem isn't the invasion, and that goes for here too. The problem isn't invasion, or that people come from another place. The problem is that people come to another place because of many reasons, and one of them, I would think that the biggest reason that people come to another, that just pick up and leave, is they can't stand the conditions anymore of where they live. It's a fair point. My dad did the same thing in 1960. They're just like, we can't live here anymore. We're gonna get up and leave. But my dad didn't bring the problems of the place that he came from to the new place and create issues for the people that live in the new place. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if you leave a place of chaos, don't bring the chaos with you. In other words, come to America, but let's all be part of the same team, right? Like, don't come over here to burn shit down or hate this place, or let's all be, we all need to get along. And sometimes that just isn't the case. That's really the problem. It's not that we don't like those people. They're the different skin tone that we are. They believe a different thing. It's just they come over and they want to, dismantle what we have over here. And that pretty much goes for everything. It's like people in the United States don't dislike foreigners. I mean, yeah, there's some rednecks that don't, but I mean, it's like, that's what you don't want. You don't want to, turn this place into a bigger dump than it is, They were just citizens of former colonies coming home. And that shouldn't offend anybody. That's what it is. And people don't care, like, those guys over, they don't look like me, I hate them. That's not people are united by their upbringing more than their skin tone and their, so, anyhow. There we go. I did. Woo! Wee! See if we have time to paint the wood on here. We do. We'll make time. I don't have to shave today. Excellent. It's not yak shaving day. ask about what things to bring on your trip, one thing that's been recommended to us is bring any medication that you take, because apparently there's like less over the counter options. I don't know. We're just talking about cold medicine and stuff like that. I don't expect to get sick. I really don't. We generally don't get sick. The three of us, we generally don't get sick, but we're popping vitamin C every day, and we will the entire trip just to keep your defenses up. But we're not going to try to eat anywhere questionable. We're going to be around a lot more people than we're used to because every place we're going to is 10 times bigger than the town we're from. Or more. You can tell how much I want to go to work. But today will be a breeze compared to the day I come back. Hey, maybe they'll just keep me over there. They'll keep me over in England so I can teach you guys proper English. Teach you guys. I'll take things I would never write down, but I say on my show. Teach some of you. What do you dislike the most about Americans? It's that you're over here. Gotta go now. Have a good day. You too, man. You see me on the streets of London interviewing people. We got one more episode to watch of Churchill at War, which honestly, other than the guy not looking like him, I actually think is pretty decent. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. I guess that's all you can hope for these days. You can't expect anything to be great. Just expect to be like, man, I hope this doesn't suck. And it doesn't suck. That's all you can expect these days is just a expect something to not be horrid. So I don't know what we're gonna do after this little guy. Probably the Horch, since it's damn near done. And I like the finish of it. It looks like a gray finish that just got dusted. You just drove it around and had a walkabout with it. Western Desert Walkabout. And I don't think I'll be on tonight. I need to. I need to go to sleep at a decent time. So that's where we will stop for January, maybe, probably, and we'll see you guys on February, where we'll continue working on the rest of this stuff. And you guys try to behave while I'm not here, and yeah, we'll have good stuff to talk about when we get back. All right, folks. Enjoy your day.